I like this place and willingly could waste my time in it. It is a beautiful spot, isn't it? Hi there and welcome to the Royal Opera House here in the heart of London's Covent Garden. I'm in the city where a 28-year-old William Shakespeare arrived over 400 years ago and which became his home and his workplace, the world's greatest ever playwright. Let's take on a little tour, shall we? Over in that direction there is Shoreditch, where the bard's journey began. Just by the Thames is Blackfriars, which became Shakespeare's home. And just on the other side of the water is the theatre that we now call Shakespeare's Globe. Here, though, is where the Royal Ballet and the Royal Opera bring his stories to life on the legendary Covent Garden stage. Welcome to Opera, Ballet and the Bard. Just a whistle-stop tour there with Prokofiev's dramatic music for Romeo and Juliet long before Lord Sugar got his hands on it, and many other Shakespearean delights that will feature in the next hour or so, both on our stage and in rehearsal as well. We're talking from the heartbreaking tragedies of Othello and Romeo and Juliet to the comedies of A Midsummer Night's Dream and the lazy and lecherous Falstaff. We are looking forward to that. Hey, you, friends, Romans and countrymen, if I may call you each of those. If you are just joining us right now, we are halfway through today's worldwide celebration of William Shakespeare on this day, 400 years after his death. And please use the hashtag Shakespeare Lives to join in the conversation and just tell us how you are enjoying the day. I'm sure if you've been joining us throughout the day, you've had a great time and just seeing just how Shakespeare influenced all of us. Now, in the next hour, we're going to be raising the curtain on the Royal Ballet and the opera's love affair as well with the Bard. And we'll be joined by a plethora of talent from our stage and beyond as well. Coming up, we'll have a live performance of the beautiful Ave Maria from Verdi's Otello and a sneak peek into a Royal Opera House rehearsal of Falstaff as well. Looking forward to that. Later on, Royal Ballet principal Lauren Cuthbertson will be Juliet in the final moments of her tragically short life. We've also have an interloper of real Shakespearean muscle in actor Geoffrey Streatfeild. So we're looking forward to all of those coming up in the next hour or so. First, though, A Winter's Tale. Now, it's a unique mix of a heartbreaking drama and comedy. This is the story of King Leontes of Sicily, who, possessed by inexplicable jealousy, accuses his wife of adultery with his childhood friend. His wife, Hermione, is banished and later, following childbirth, believed dead. King Leontes orders the abandonment of their baby daughter, Perdita, who was found and brought up by a shepherd in Bohemia. Years pass, and Perdita is reunited with her father and before long her mother as well in one of the happiest Shakespearean endings. It was premiered here 2 years ago, and adapting The Winter's Tale for ballet was a mighty task for choreographer Christopher Wheeldon.
I've always wanted to make a Shakespeare ballet, so I wanted to find a Shakespeare story that hadn't been told through movement. In The Winter's Tale, there are 6 principal roles, which is terrific for, a full-length ballet to offer 6 principal dancers the opportunity to have a really meaty role within a ballet. We really develop ideas together in the studio, myself with the dancers, and we work on creating the material collaboratively. It's those moments of sort of high drama that work very well for dance, because you need very strong characters, you need strong plot lines that are clear and easy to follow to make, a story ballet. So what we've done is we've kind of stripped away some of the lesser characters and tried to kind of streamline the plot a little bit and sort of focused on the ideas of, this sort of unexplained jealousy and the tragedy that follows from that, and then the passing of time and the beautiful redemptive ending.
Gone already. Inch thick, knee deep, o'er head and ears a forked one. Go, play, boy, play. thy mother plays. And I play too, but so disgraced a part whose issue will hiss me to my grave. Contempt and clamour will be my knell. Go, play, boy, play. There have been, or I am much deceived, cuckolds ere now. And many a man there is, even at this present now, while I speak this, holds his wife by the arm, that little thinks she has been sluiced in's absence, and his pond fished by his next neighbour, by Sir Smile, his neighbour. Nay, there's comfort in't. Whilst other men have gates, and those gates opened as mine against their will, or should all despair that have revolted wives, the 10th of mankind would hang themselves. Physic for it there is none. It is a bawdy planet that will strike where 'tis predominant, and 'tis powerful. Think it. From east, west, north, and south, be it concluded, no barricado for a belly. Know it. It will let in and out the enemy with bag and baggage. Many thousand of them have the disease and feel it not. How now, boy?
Beautiful stuff there, you guys. Thank you much to Geoffrey, to Paul, and to Edward there. Really loved the way that it all came together between the three. If we can, let's bring in the legendary ex-principal dancer, Mr. Jonathan Cope, who's now a ballet master here at the Royal Opera, because we're going to talk to him about what we've just seen and also what we're going to see in the next 10 minutes or so here in the rehearsal room. Mr. Jonathan Cope, where is he? Of course, you'll have known that he will have danced with the legendary Darcy Bustle here at the Opera House. He's a man who knows his way around the Royal Opera House here in Covent Garden. Jonathan, come on over. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Pleasure.
Really beautiful to see that there. We saw the moment that Leontes' jealousy takes over, but now we're going to fast forward to the end of the ballet. So just tell us exactly what we're going to see.
Well, this is the very, very end of the ballet. This is sort of the conclusion to the whole story. It's the happy ending. It's the moment that Hermione, as the statue, comes to life, and Leontes shows his remorse and his regret and his love for her, and sort of we're left with that as a happy ending, but also the tragedy of his son, who remains a statue, which is typical Shakespeare. So,
but after
yeah,
16
sort of
years, though a happy ending, is Leontes over his jealousy, do we think?
Well, I think in the ballet, certainly. I mean, there's also the debate whether Hermione actually dies or whether she's hidden away by her loyal friend for 16 years. And that, but I think from the ballet's point of view, I think we like to think that she's brought back to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing it. Lauren has joined Ed over there. So, my friend, it is over to you. Take to the floor.
Okay, great. So, we'll start with a little bit of rehearsal, just sort of getting the flow, get it going, and then we'll have a little go all the way through. Shall we try the moment from the show just to get Lauren a little bit higher in the promenade lift? We could do this with Paul. This is after your arabesque. And then Ed gets off the floor into the drop walks and the slide. So if you could just get her that's better, Ed. Yeah, yeah. And then keep her there for the flip. That's nice, yeah. So she's almost on your shoulder level. Yeah, yeah. And maybe don't push the leg quite so high, so the body stays up, so the leg is sort of straight down. That's a good height, Ed. Nice. That's better. So then she looks kind of proud then, and it looks lovely. That's the one. Okay, good. Now, again, just to sort of get it going, would you like to do your walks in, and we'll just do that opening section just to get it going with Paul? Yeah. Might be a good idea, and then we'll have a little run in a minute. So, Paul, this is after breathing. I think it says Leontes walks in. right, you've got it, have you? Where the big music starts, really. Straight on that, and we'll just hear. Okay, we can repeat that, that's fine. All right. 9, 10, 11, 12, Paul? It's better, good. Yes. Careful. Okay. I mean, it looks wonderful like that. And in the show was terrific too. That amount of, obviously without slipping, but maybe it's the floor. What was good in the show is you stayed off for the whole rond de jambe using Ed, and it looked, yeah, it looked really, really good. When you lift her off the floor, Ed, after you've done your two, is there any way of keeping those legs directly to the floor as you do that promenade so that it's only her upper body that back bends when she first comes off, so that you lift her but the feet stay pointing to the floor? So that's it. There, yes, that's it. Looks gorgeous. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then it's just all in the upper body. Okay.
Should we try the scarf lift once?
At the end. We should. So where should we go from? Leg down? No. Excellent. We've really, really got that now. Yeah, absolutely. So this is after Lauren's releves, Paul, towards the end.
After leg down.
It's after leg down, yeah.
Legs over his back.
No, after all of that. Keep going, yeah.
Port de mariage then.
Port de mariage after that.
Oh, okay.
Hermione
Yeah,
releve.
okay.
Yeah, play straight on her releves. Good. Yes, lovely. Easy. We've got it. Was there any other moments from the show? Oh, I had one too.
Because it was a little steadier in the show. And I did this movement probably early. And I think then we were all early, and I think that's why we ran out.
Yes, yes, which leads into my one, which didn't see quite enough legs crossed before the open. Yeah, so we just get a moment legs crossed, and then that moment of opening, which looks lovely. Yeah, 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 yeah. It was a nice tempo, though. It actually.
Maybe slower, just out of that, so I can give this to you on the right music.
Okay. Did you want to try that, or is that something we should? In the run. Yeah. Well, I think we're pretty much ready now. I think we should, have a little drink. So now, Paul, we'll go back to the beginning and we'll run it from breathing all the way through. Be aware of your space.
Yeah. How are you doing centre as centre?
I think slightly off.
Slightly to the...
Yes, to this side. Yeah. So this is Hermione coming to life, and here we go. Okay, Paul. Well done. Very good indeed.
That deserves a little ripple of applause from whoever's in the room. Well done, guys. Don't go anywhere. Don't you exit by the bear. I'm going to drop in some Shakespeare lines. Jonathan, let's put you over this side.
Right.
You guys, Ed and Lauren, if you don't mind standing over here. That was quite something.
It was, yeah.
For everybody at home, I've been working with the Opera House for the last year or so. It's the best watching it in rehearsal, because it's not often you get to see these guys performing so close. It's really lovely, really nice.
No.
Let's talk about The Winter's Tale then, Jonathan. Made in 1610, right? What do you think is so good about this that makes it good for ballet?
Well, because the story's slightly unbelievable, really. I mean, it's a ridiculous story. And that's always good with
abstract as
ballet.
they come.
Well, you know, yes. And so there's an element of fairy tale to it. There's the sort of intense dramatic of Act 1, and then slightly the comedy comes in with Act 2 and sort of 3, so it just plays out well to the theatre.
It's been talked about as one of Shakespeare's problem plays because of the tragedy and the comedy, like you say. We heard from Christopher Wheeldon before, who said how some stage directors strip away characters because of that interpretation. So do you think for a lot of audiences it's easy to follow if you don't know about the story?
I would recommend reading a brief synopsis prior, just so you have an understanding. The ballet does play out clearly, but I think if you just got a little bit of knowledge would help you enjoy it more.
Yeah. All right, well, I can't help but enjoy it watching you guys performing it. Lauren, Shakespeare, ballet, does it have a certain way for you guys? I mean, you've obviously worked across the board in different kind of performances, but to Shakespeare, is there a certain interpretation that you bring to each performance?
I suppose I'd like to think so, but I think that Shakespeare's plays are so beautiful, and the way he words things are really interesting. So if you don't read the text, for instance, there's a certain magic that you will never capture about it. So I suppose there's that element to it that we always try to bring. Yeah.
Is that the same for you, Ed? Especially doing these pas de deux, is it really important to have the text in your mind?
Yeah, because it's very much storytelling, you know, and luckily we have these amazing productions of Romeo and Juliet by Kenneth MacMillan and Windsor by Christopher Wheeldon. The choreography is like words, really. It really describes the story, so it's amazing for us to have that.
Is there a correlation, do you think, between the dance, the performance, and the language?
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, it's not literally a step for a word, but I think certainly making The Winter's Tale, Chris listened to, you know, each speech and tried to find out what was in there, and we tried to kind of explain that with our bodies. So that was a really interesting process for us.
And it was created on you, wasn't it, actually, Lauren? With you two in mind by Christopher. That must have been pretty special, pretty intimidating.
It was really special, actually, and both of us weren't so aware of the play before. So it was a bit daunting to begin with. It was quite hard to begin.
To do the research, we actually had some actors come in and speak through the scenes for us. So once we heard them bring it to life, rather than just us reading it, it really changed everything for us.
Yeah. Well, it looks beautiful. It looks like you know the words and the language and all of it pretty well. Lauren, we're going to be seeing you shortly, so stay in the wings for us if you don't mind. But from Ed and Jonathan, thank you. Really appreciate your time. Wonderful stuff. Guys, feel free to make your way to the back of the room. Really, really good stuff. We are really rattling through this hour of our Shakespeare's opera, ballet and the Bard here at the Royal Opera House. Still to come, like I said, we've got Lauren and the Romeo and Juliet ballet here in the rehearsal room. We're also going to start our chapter on opera very soon. But first, let's speak to our guest, Geoffrey Streatfeild, one of the very best British actors keeping Shakespeare text alive. Where's he coming from, left or right? There he is, Geoffrey. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. We heard you, obviously, before, reading some of the lines from Winter's Tale. Let's talk about Shakespeare, because we are celebrating the guy today. What is it that makes his work so special 400 years on, do you reckon?
Well, I think, sort of unarguably, he's the best writer that has ever lived. Certainly writing in our language. And I think the reason why he's so special is the sheer range of stories that he has, the characters that he creates, that kind of, better than any other writer, represent any experience you could have as a human being. So I think he's the go-to guy to find out what life's about.
I think a lot of people in this last few days, as we've been building up to this Shakespeare Day, 400 years on, the word that they've used is relevant.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I think it is relevant. I mean, they're kind of, if you look at them initially, you could think they're really old and dusty plays and the language can seem a bit impenetrable. So you have to question as to why they're relevant. But I think they're relevant because the themes to do with greed or power or politics or jealousy or love or lust or envy, all these things are the things that we have to deal with today and work out how to deal with. And I think he explores those themes more accessibly and more excitingly than anybody else.
And you have played the biggies. I'm going to read a few of them out of here, Geoffrey, for those of you who aren't sure about Geoffrey's credentials. Henry V. We got Macbeth as well. What are the challenges for you as an actor of bringing it to a contemporary audience, do you think?
Well, I think initially the barrier is that people think that Shakespeare might be inaccessible because the language is difficult. So to try and make it feel like it's a play that's just been written, that it's a story that's happening, that it's alive, that it's understandable, to make it kind of live and breathe as if it's happening right now, and to kind of own it, to take it off a pedestal and say this doesn't belong to academics, this doesn't belong to any kind of establishment. This belongs. He's a man of the people. He's an ordinary guy working in the theatre, writing plays to entertain, and so it is important to make them feel like they crackle with life right now.
And like you said, actually, the fact that it has been adapted by anybody. Here we are in the Opera House, seeing the opera, or we will do very soon, but seeing the ballet as well. Why is it that it's so good, or it's so easy to be able to interpret into those art forms, do you think?
Well, I think that he just speaks to us in any number of ways. I mean, what we have is the text, but I think that's just a springboard to be interpreted in any number of ways, and it's kind of amazing the number of other people that he has inspired. I mean, there's a lot of song and dance in the plays themselves, so there's a lot to take any theme and express it any which way you like. So I think the great thing about Shakespeare is that there are no rules. You can do what you want with it. You can take the stories, and they're completely malleable, and that's what makes them timeless.
Take it how you want it. Geoffrey, thank you very much indeed. And make sure you keep your comments coming in as well using the hashtag Shakespeare Lives. You've been getting in touch already during the afternoon, so please do keep it going. Geoffrey, I'm going to leave you here because I'm walking over to the piano here because some of you might say that Shakespeare in the opera world was made by a chap called Joe Green, or Giuseppe Verdi, as you might know him in his native Italy. And the combination of the two is a match that the Royal Opera proudly showcased on stage here in Covent Garden. Verdi adored Shakespeare as well, writing 3 operas of his stories, and it was truer to the playwright's original text than most. In a few minutes, we're going to see just how true Verdi's wording was to Shakespeare when we get a privileged look at rehearsal of Ford's aria with Falstaff. First, though, Othello, or Otello in Italian. And we got here Susana. So Susana, tell us a little bit about what we're going to see coming up.
I'm going to sing the final prayer of Desdemona just before she goes to bed, and Otello comes in the room and murders her. So this is the final prayer, is her final song.
And for you, what are the emotions coming through as you perform it?
This is a challenge because, well, first of all, I know what is going to go next, what's going to happen, but as well because it's very challenging, this aria, because it's very deep and very introspective, intense and exposed, and yeah, it's quite a challenge.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to seeing that challenge coming to life. Susana, if you don't mind, after you.
Maria, piena di grazia, eletta fra le spose, le vergini sei tu, sia benedetto il frutto, o benedetta, di tue materne viscere, Gesù. Thank you. Amen.
Beautiful, Susanna. Thank you so much indeed. Really appreciated that. That was Susana Gaspar, of course, with the aria of Desdemona in Otello. A beautiful, beautiful piece just there. We've got so much more coming up as well. We've got another of Shakespeare's leading ladies with the Royal Ballet's principal, Lauren Cuthbertson. We saw her earlier, but she's going to change form in a moment as she dances Juliet, a teenager overcome, of course, with love and grief. If you're watching and you've become overcome with love and grief or any other emotion, please do get in touch using the hashtag Shakespeare Lives. Any other way you want to use it, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or on Twitter, make sure you get involved. We'd love to hear from you and just tell us how you're enjoying this day. Like I said, it's so good to have all of this also close to home, so make sure you do get involved. Now, from the piety of Desdemona to the immorality of Sir John Falstaff. Verdi's Falstaff is an adaptation of The Merry Wives of Windsor, with additional scenes taken from Henry IV. Now, this story is of the protagonist, the vain, the cowardly, the fat knight, rather rotund Falstaff, who, well, he can't resist the ladies, can he? But they can resist him, and they plot to put an end to his advances once and for all. And it's not just the ladies who are put out by Falstaff's lecherous actions. Alice Ford's husband, a wealthy man known simply as Ford, is pretty unhappy too. Well, just like magic right there. Hello. Amy Lane, director at the Royal Opera, joins us. Amy, so good to see you. We're going to see you working with the Jette Parker young artist, Yuri Yurchuk, on Ford's aria in a moment.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about it, if you may.
Well, this aria, to me, is pretty volcanic in its nature. Ford is this huge force. He is furious, angry, jealous, kind of spewing forth this red-hot lava at the discovery that he's just made, that his wife has secretly arranged a setup with Falstaff, a rendezvous for a bit of a how do you do. So he is dealing with that. So there's a lot of emotion. We kind of go through the gamut. We start with despair, loss, and then it kind of goes into a bit of a swagger bravado mode and pushes us all the way through, right to the kind of manic excitement of revenge.
Wow, what a setup. Amy, I'm a little sweaty after
that.
Really looking forward to seeing it in action. And the words that Yuri is going to perform are quite familiar to us, aren't they?
They are, of course. It's Ford's text. It's Ford's monologue from The Merry Wives of Windsor. And we'll see a lot of the text is word for word similar. Some of it's been reordered, but you'll hear things like, the hour is fixed, l'ora è fissata. That's what we hear going on there.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to seeing Yuri in action in a moment. First, though, let's hear the original text, the inspiration from this aria. So, Geoffrey, take it away, mate.
What a damned Epicurean rascal is this? My heart is ready to crack with impatience. Who says this is improvident jealousy? My wife hath sent to him. The hour is fixed, the match is made. Would any man have thought this? See the hell of having a false woman. My bed shall be abused, my coffers ransacked, my reputation gnawn at, and I shall not only receive this villainous wrong, but stand under the adoption of abominable terms, and by him that does me this wrong. Terms. Names. A Mammon sounds well. Lucifer well. Barberson well. Yet they are devil's additions, the names of fiends, but cuckold. Whittle. Cuckold. The devil himself hath not such a name. Page is an ass. A secure ass. He will trust his wife. He will not be jealous. Well, I would rather trust a Fleming with my butter, Parson Hugh, the Welshman, with my cheese, an Irishman with my aqua vitae bottle, or a thief to walk my ambling gelding than my wife with herself. Then she plots, then she ruminates, then she devises, and what they think in their heart they may effect. God be praised for my jealousy. 11 o'clock, the hour. I will prevent this, detect my wife, be revenged on Falstaff, and laugh at Page. I will about it. Better 3 hours too soon than a minute too late. Fie, fie, fie. Cuckold, cuckold, cuckold.
Cuckold, cuckold. OK, Yuri.
Oh, yeah.
Let's try something with some music. So why don't we just go straight in and see what we find? Thank you very much.
Sogno o realtà due rami enormi crescono sulla mia testa è un sogno.
Thank you very much. Very good. OK, so let's place you in a space. So you are in the Garter Inn. You're in the pub.
Yeah.
Let's imagine that Falstaff is exiting off that way through the door. So the opening section, the musical interlude in, is his kind of merry, jaunty exit. He's heading off to get himself dressed up in his finery to go and meet your wife. So you have arrived in disguise to Falstaff as Signor Fontana, so you need to keep up the facade as he exits. The chord that lands just before the first line that you sing, which is e sogno o realtà, let that chord be the final moment that everything settles and you can finally investigate what that means, OK? Let's just have a little go at that. And also, actually, before we go, can you try incredulity? Absolute disbelief. Try putting a little bit of a laugh into the e sogno. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
This has got to be a dream, yeah? So try a little something like that, and then let that fade away. O realtà. And then in the piano, we have these little motifs. And again. There's something fizzy, maybe kind of a nauseous rising, which then leads into the due rami, which is the commencement of the horns beginning to kind of poke out through your head as the cuckold. You then explode at the top of the phrase, almost fall off the edge of the cliff, to land back for the... Seriously? Un sogno? How's my Italian, by the way?
Doing good, doing
We're
good.
OK? And how's his so far? Any
So
notes?
far, very good. but-
Fantastic, OK. So let's try the opening sequence. So we're watching Falstaff exit over there, and off we go. And he's gone.
E sogno o realtà.
Bit of nausea. Oh, then drive it through.
Due rami enormi crescono sulla mia testa. È un sogno. Master Hans, dormi. Svegliati, so, sia sta. Uomo li scappa, e mette il malassetto, per tu, la tua casa, per il tuo letto.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So, the agitato section, so we have this kind of rumbling in the piano. What I'd like you to try and investigate is that almost like you want to climb out of your body. You want to leave this space, and you're not even comfortable in your own skin. It's like someone's taken your skin off, filled it with pins, needles, breadcrumbs, and put it back on. So everything is impossible. Also, have a look at these rests and the breaths. So, muscular forward, you've got two rests there. Muscular forward, rest. Dormi, rest, rest. Use that. Use the breath as you've kind of forced your way up through the phrase and you forced yourself into this manic situation. Could we try that from the agitato, please? Skin.
Mastre fort, dormi. Stellati, so, ti da sta. Tua voglia sgarra, e metti il malassetto. Sarà tu, la tua casa, per il tuo letto. L'ora fissata, tramato l'inganno.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Use of the breath. You can snatch those breaths more audibly for us as an audience.
Okay.
To hear your breath is a very attractive thing because we follow your breath as well. It leads us up on the crescendo with you, so that's very exciting. And then, ed il tuo letto, and your bed, the crest of that phrase. Then let the breath go and come and come and come, which leads us then into this next phrase in the orchestra, from the horns, of course. Ya-da-da-da-da. Exactly. Oh, cuckolding again, here we go.
And if you could have really long vowels here, l'ora fissata, so we can really...
Love, yeah.
It's cupo, really dark and...
Could we bear to go again from the agitato, just putting those little thoughts into it? So I really want to hear that breath as you grab through.
Mastre fort, dormi. Stellati, su, ti da sta. Tua moglie sgarra, e metti il malassetto. Sarà tu, la tua casa, per il tuo letto. L'ora è fissata, tramato l'inganno. Sei gabbato e truffato.
Very good. Thank you. Let's stop there. So, sei gabbato e truffato.
Sei gabbato e truffato. You can really use the beginning. So you are mocked and swindled, cheated.
There's something about the double gabbato.
Yeah, it's always the beginning of the word. Gabbato, truffato.
Excellent. Okay, so before we go on, let's hear just one more time. Could we, if possible, this is mean for you, ed il tuo letto. Is that okay to pick up there? Going into, ya-da-da-da-dum. I tell you, you don't need to sing that. Let's have cutting in with Jonathan, which is going to lead us into the cold l'ora fissata.
Just, yeah.
So the breath.
L'ora è fissata, tramato l'inganno. Sei gabbato e truffato, e poi diranno che un marito geloso è un infissato.
Thank you very much, Yuri. Let's follow the story all the way through. Let's go from the beginning right through to the end.
Right.
Fantastic. Well done.
E sogno o realtà due rami enormi crescono sulla mia testa e un sogno Mastre fort, dormi. Scelti, su, ti da sta. Tua moglie sgarra, e metti il malassetto. Però tu, a tua casa, per il tuo letto. prefissata. Tramato l'inganno, sei gabbato e truffato, e poi diranno che un marito geloso e un insensato. Già dietro a me uomini infame, curio, fischian passando, mormorano sterno. Bianfere babbei, affiderei la mia birra a un tedesco, tutto il mio desco un olandese all'urco, la mia bottiglia d'acquavite a un turco, no, mia voglia se stessa. Ormai tua sorte, quella brutta parola in cuor mi corna, capron, la forte, la corna, mai non mi sfuggirai, no, sozzo, reo, annato epicurreo. Prima la coppia, e poi li colgo, la coppia, li colgo, la coppia, li colgo, la coppia, li colgo, li colgo, li colgo, li coppia. Io scoppio. Vendicherò l'affronto, laudata sempre sia nel fondo del mio cor la
Oh, it's too much. Too much. Round of applause again, whoever's in the room. That was beautiful. You said volcanic, didn't you, Amy? That I felt like I was on Etna right now. That was incredible. Of course, thank you to Amy Lane, to Yuri Yurchuk, our expert in Italian language and operatic dialect, of course, language coach Isabella Radcliffe, and beautiful accompaniment as well from Jonathan Santagata. All of you, thank you so much indeed. Really, really appreciate it. We are, believe it or not, drawing to a close here at the Royal Opera House, but there is plenty more this afternoon as the BBC celebrates 400 years of Shakespeare. At bbc.co.uk/Shakespeare Lives is, of course, the website that you've been watching on, and you can get plenty more throughout the day and throughout the afternoon. And we're not done here just yet, of course, because Shakespeare's story of the young lovers, Romeo and Juliet, is one of the most performed theatrical works ever, and has been reimagined across stage, screen and literature and music. So Kenneth MacMillan's ballet of Romeo and Juliet was created for the stage 51 years ago, believe it or not, premiered by the legendary dancers Margot Fonteyn and Rudolf Nureyev. Using the classic music by Sergei Prokofiev, the show was an instant success and received a 40-minute applause after the show. It's still going strong. Something like that? No? Like that, that's it. That's what, yeah, that was the position.
Like that.
That's the Lauren and I have been working on the fact that I'm going to be taking over as a principal dancer here at the Royal Opera House. Absolutely not. You were watching there Federico Bonelli with Lauren performing, of course, a famous balcony scene, a beautiful scene, and of course it changes very much as the story goes on. Lauren, thanks for showing me the dance and the moves and the fact that I'm never going to do that again, and for joining us again. So Romeo and Juliet is a performance you first did in 2003. Yeah. The first time. Yeah. It's a special role for you, right?
Yeah, it's really, really special. It's the role, actually, as a young dancer, I would put the CD on in the studio and run around to all of Juliet's music, making up my own steps. It was the dream role. Yeah.
And what is it that Kenneth MacMillan makes such a great translator, I guess?
I think it's because Kenneth's work is so raw and so real, and he always wanted it to be really human. So less pink ballet sort of style and more real emotion. And I think that helps translate the text.
And it is an emotional roller coaster, isn't it? Obviously, we know the story so well. We're talking 50 years ago that it was first performed over here. Just talk us through what we're going to see and how your adaptation for it, I guess.
Well, we're about to see the potion scene, at which point she's feeling completely isolated from her family, which is already really traumatic for her. And yet she's been given the potion by Friar Lawrence, and she's sort of destined to be with Romeo and desperate to take the potion, but that fills her with such horror and fright that she might not wake up from it. So it's a complex moment.
All right. I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yes.
Paul, are you ready on keys? Yeah. He is ready. All right. Let's do this thing. Over to you. Beautiful stuff, Lauren. Thank you so much. And Paul, of course, on the keys. That was really, really powerful. We've had an amazing hour. Thank you so much. You enjoy doing that for us?
I did. It's out of context, but it's still enjoyable and really useful for rehearsals.
Yeah, it's been a great hour. What have you enjoyed, Geoffrey?
I think it's all been incredible, but it's particularly amazing to see stories we know so well done without any other words, and still we understand it and it connects, and it's so powerful. It's amazing.
Thank you both. It really has been great watching and listening with the both of you. We have only just scraped the surface of the Bard's immense influence, really, on the opera and ballet. Thank you to all of the dancers and to everyone at the Royal Ballet and the Royal Opera as well for talking us through this last hour and letting us into their world. Please stay with us here on Shakespeare Lives, Shakespeare 400, using the website bbc.co.uk/Shakespeare Lives. We've got loads coming up here in the next few hours or so. But Olympian, lustrous, bedazzled, zany, varied, as merry as the day is long. You know those words. You could have done them a hell lot longer. But cheers, Geoffrey, cheers. Of course, words that coined by Shakespeare, which nicely sum up our last hour here in Covent Garden. Ladies and gentlemen, what's done is done. Paul, play us out.